we need to do more with adult education. And our homeless crisis is caused from multiple reasons, and sometimes it's just bad luck. But first we need to, I think the public-private partnerships that we were talking about earlier are going to be important, and that one of the things that we can do as a county is provide the facilities for our private individuals to come in and help with emergency services for these families that need help now, people with children, those types of things, and then to come in and teach them just some basic skills, how to interview for a job, how to do a resume. If they're lacking in other basic skills, teach them trades, help them get licensed so that they can practice that trade, and set up places for AA meetings and NA meetings, or just counseling for depression and other issues that have put people into that cycle that leads to homelessness. Also, if we can work with our law enforcement partners to actually get the people off the street that are committing the crimes. If they're breaking into places to live or trespassing or stealing stuff, let's get them off the streets and keep them so that they don't go back out and reoffend. We need to have the county going out there, and if there are these abandoned buildings that they keep going back in, make sure that we do something to secure those buildings, and work with code enforcement so that they can drive by and have the police looking out for the signs for people are living in those places, and take care of that. We need to take care of the people, but we don't need them to work us over in the process. So that's another one. And then give code enforcement more tools so that when there is a family that is in a crisis situation and they may have code enforcement violations, that we can give them more time instead of just making their problems worse than what they already are. Work with them to keep them in their homes. I'd love it if we put some of our redevelopment funds into 0% interest loans, so we can actually, if those things are, especially if they're life safety issues, that we can address those life safety issues and get those people the help that they need without it, so that those things get taken care of now without it being an extra burden to them, on those immediate things. So that was my subject. Thank you.
So everybody's mentioned first responders, and so we know there's a crisis in America with fellow soldiers, or with soldiers and sailors returning home, and also as of late, as of the past 5 or 6 years, too many first responders have taken their own lives. I'd be glad to talk about that. Thank you, because that's something. I have a friend on the road right now. She's in Pasco County, and she responded to a suicide the other night. She told me the next day via text that he was a soldier. That's not something we normally address at a county level, but what would you try and do as a county commissioner to address that?
I would just say this. I agree that it's not a money issue with the suicide rates and stuff with the police. I think it's more of a respect issue. I think that we as a community need to make sure that we respect our police, our law enforcement, our firefighters, all of them for the jobs that they do, and let them know that we do appreciate what they do. And I think it's more of a community effort, and let's not focus if somebody makes a mistake on that mistake. Let's focus on the good stuff that they do for us every single day. And I think that's going to be, obviously there's going to be some counseling and there's some pretty horrendous things that they see, but as far as the day-to-day goes, I think that's more of a community effort to just, if a newspaper badmouths the cops, then don't buy that newspaper. So I'm going to say, don't tune into that channel that's going to do that, and let our market speak, and I think that's a community effort.
But there's one question that really brings me to understand the soul of each candidate. We haven't talked about this topic before, but I'm going to raise it now. I'd like each of the candidates to tell me if they support our President Trump.
Yeah.
And why, based on his domestic policies that affect local government. Yes or no on the first question, and the why focusing on domestic policies. If each of you could answer that question, that would be great.
All right. I'm in favor of Donald Trump 110% as well. He was not my first choice when he ran. He didn't really check all of those boxes that were typical. Since he has run, love the judge selections, just love the judge selections, and I cannot wait for RBG to just step down so that we can watch more TV of people crying. And at any rate, I think it'll be great when he replaces her. And I love the taking back a lot of these regulations that were put in place that have stifled business from growing and just operating in this country. He's put in policies where they have to remove regulations in order to create a new regulations. And you know, I personally am of a belief that regulations are poison to our government, the system of government that we have, because they're put in place by people who are not elected. And they have the full weight and effect of a law, and they abuse us. And I think that he is attacking those types of policies for us, and I think it's great. And also, I think that Twitter is his laser pen, and the press are cats, and that is just what he uses to get them busy doing what he wants them to do. So.
Thank you very much.
If you woke up tomorrow as an animal, what animal would you be? An eagle.